Hello, welcome back to the Wolf Den. I am the Wolf,
Daddy-o.
and we're ready. Let's do a new one.
Okay, so in keeping up with our catching up on Marvel, Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, which was good. I think that's the second time that I've seen it. It was interesting. A couple plot holes, or at least one big one. Unless it ties perfectly into Tony's line in the Avengers, but I'll get to that momentarily. Overall, it's a good movie. It's fine. I liked it.
I liked it. I liked the story, how it was, how you go a little bit of Nick Fury's history, and actually Coulson at that point too.
Yeah, the new guy.
Which was cool to give their backstory because we don't really know that much about them. How Nick Fury lost his eye.
I thought that was a little dumb. Well, you know what? I would have been fine with it because it's an alien creature. Whatever. It claws its eye out and it looks like a cat. To me, that makes sense. The problem that I have is in the Avengers. I don't remember. Maybe it was one of the movies. Then Nick Fury says, the last time I trusted somebody, I lost an eye. And so I was expecting like some huge betrayal from somebody in S.H.I.E.L.D. or CIA or whatever. Yeah, whatever. But no, it was a flirkin that clawed his eye out.
Well, he did trust it.
Well, to quote Deadpool, that's just lazy writing.
But no, I like it. Introducing. The only thing is to see they rushed to get to put it out before Endgame, so that you would know who she is when she shows up.
Right.
And so, to me, they were just too close together, and you don't know. You don't get a lot of her story.
Yeah, that, and I do think that again, I don't know how much money Captain Marvel made, but I think releasing it a month or 2 months before Endgame.
It was like February and then April.
Yeah, I think that may have hurt its
box office.
Yeah, a little.
Because you got to give it time to make $1 billion like they want it to.
Right, and then it's like Captain Marvel. Cool, let's go see that, and then you get the normal crowd, but then Avengers Endgame came out a month or two later, and we all know what happened there. So I think that may have hurt it a little bit, but in the box office anyways. But
the story, the Skrull storyline was good.
Mm-hmm. And then I like how we're not there yet technically, but I like how they brought it back for Spider-Man and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It was so the Tesseract thing. So that's a little weird because the movie takes place in the mid-90s, I think.
Like 94, 95,
somewhere in there. But anyways, that Nick Fury knew about the Tesseract in the 90s. But then fast forward to the 2000s and 2012 specifically when they're hunting the Tesseract. It's almost like he's just learning about it because he tells Captain America, Howard Stark fished that out of the ocean while we were looking for you. And is like, is there anything we should know? And, Cap tells him, oh, you should have left it in the ocean. So it seems a little weird that he's known about it since the 90s or he hasn't, or it perfectly circles back to what Tony said in the Avengers is he's telling Captain America that Nick Fury is the spy. His secrets have secrets. So either they messed that up or they did it perfectly. So just because it's like, oh, I've known about the Tesseract since the 90s or I've never known about the Tesseract until right now.
Right.
So it just felt a little off. But other than that, I didn't, it's fine. How did you feel about the Skrulls being good guys and it was the Kree that were actually the bad guys?
It's been such a long time since I've read up on Skull Kree fighting from the comics since like 40 years ago. So as far as I know, it was okay. It was the truth. I don't know if they're going to change that up in any of the upcoming movies.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is I forgot. I had an issue of possibly Captain America. I don't remember, but they crossed a Skrull with something else, and they called it a Super Skrull because it had like powers or something. Or was it the Fantastic Four? He got the powers, a Skrull with the powers of the Fantastic Four.
Oh, okay.
And so that's interesting. But it's been so long since I've read up on Skrull, Kree history, warfare stuff that sure, it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to take changes where you can, or you're going to make changes where you can that make sense. We're not going to complain about too many changes. And I heard, it was a good argument that I heard too from somebody, that they said, well, it's called the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or the MCU, right? And then in the comic books, they also have different universes like Earth 616, Earth 62, Earth 42, all of that kind of stuff. So if you take the MCU as its own separate universe that's based on 616, like all the other Marvel stuff, then having...
That's somebody with too much time on their hands.
No, all they're saying is, like, you can be upset about the changes, or you can just...
But our excuse is it's another universe.
Yeah, because there are other universes.
Yeah, that's lame. I don't know who came up with that. That's lame.
I don't know who said it either. But I don't think it's lame. I think it's fine because it follows with... There's Earth 616, which is the main Marvel universe, which is where you have... Fun fact, where you have white Nick Fury, and then the Ultimate Universe, which is Earth 42, I believe, is where you have Nick Fury that is black. And not only is he black, he's actually drawn to the likeness of Samuel L. Jackson. So that's probably why he was cast. And also, he's just a great actor. But so, see, that's why I don't have a problem with just take the MCU, because it is the cinematic universe as its own universe, and then all the little changes you can be okay with. For example, there is
To quote Deadpool, that's just lazy writing.
No, I mean, there is I forget which universe it is, but there's like one where Wolverine is gay and in a relationship with Hercules. So it's just like, oh no, that changes the character. Yeah, but in that universe. So you just leave it there. Or Earth 42 again, which is Miles Morales, or the Ultimate Universe. Miles Morales is Spider-Man because Peter Parker died. And it's like, oh no, they killed Peter Parker in that one universe, yes. Or actually, I think in two, because Gwen Stacy becomes Spider-Woman after she kills Peter. But anyways, in those two universes, so there's changes that are made, but you can be okay with it because it's a different universe.
Right, but does that work out? No, because look what happened when they tried to do the new Fantastic Four from the Ultimate Universe. That movie bombed.
Well, that movie was lame, that's why. That movie wasn't good, and it wasn't done in the MCU, and it was...
No, but it was supposed to be from the Ultimate Universe. The source material was supposed to be the Ultimate Universe, and it went in the toilet. So that tells you right there, no, don't mess with that. Don't mess with what we already know. Other than what they're doing right now, where they take elements from scripted stories and then they kind of improve on them and stuff. Mm-hmm. Depending on your opinion, they improve it or they kill it, whichever. But
right, like for example, in Age of Ultron, Tony and Bruce are the ones that make Ultron, but in the comics, it's Dr. Hank Pym actually creates Ultron. Mm-hmm. So there's your change right there. So again, it's another universe.
But does it matter? Do you have to preface it? Well, this is a different universe.
No, but it's a way to be okay with changes.
I'm okay with it no matter what they do. I don't care. They're trying to say, well, that's because they're doing. That's just like a friend of mine who thinks that when they rebooted Star Trek, and we were against it from the get-go because they fundamentally changed a bunch of stuff. They just made so many fundamental changes that they ignored 45 years of Star Trek history. And so I didn't care to go see it. And then my friend justified it by saying, well, it's an alternate timeline version of Star Trek. Well, nobody ever said that's what it is. The writer, the producers, nobody ever. That's never been a marketing thing for it. So he just came up with that on his own somehow. I don't know. And that was to justify that he could go see it and enjoy it. I didn't go see it. I saw part of it when it came to television, and it looked stupid.
Well, Star Trek in general looks stupid, so...
No, Star Trek's awesome.
I don't know what you're talking about. So but, anything else on Captain Marvel? I don't think so. Like I said, it was a good movie.
I love the way they presented her story, which was also different than the comic version.
Oh, yeah, that was the thing I wanted to talk about. But anyways, finish your thought.
I was just going to say, they of course, they took the source material and then they went with whatever story that they came up with for her. And it was fine with me.
Yeah.
I had no problem with it. Although I did think that Supreme Intelligence bore a lot of resemblance to the Ancient One. Not physically, but the premise.
Oh, the premise, yeah.
So it's like Supreme Intelligence was Annette Bening, and she played like this all-knowing character that knows about time and space or something like that, which is the same as Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, to me, it was too similar. It was like, really? You guys couldn't... But that's not exactly a bad thing, because Stan Lee did that a lot. There's so many similar characters, and so I don't know.
Yeah.
What did you think about it?
I didn't have a problem with it. The thing that surprised me the most, and it's just because I wasn't expecting it, is in the movie Marvel was the girl. She was Dr. Pegasus.
Pause this. I'll be right back. Okay.
So Captain Marvel was revealed to be Pegasus. I think she was a doctor. I think it was Dr. Pegasus. I thought that was the most surprising to me, because in the comics, Marvel is a guy. And I was just expecting that to be Jude Law's character. Because they also changed how she got her powers somewhat, kind of. Marvel dies in an explosion, and his powers get transferred to Carol in the comics, roughly.
Yeah, that's kind of Green Lantern-y.
No.
The movie version.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, so he Marvel dies in an explosion. His powers get transferred to Carol Danvers, and she becomes Captain Marvel, which was, close in the movie.
Well, isn't she the third? Isn't Carol Danvers like the third Captain Marvel?
Something like that. But anyways, I wasn't expecting it. I was like, oh, Jude Law will be Captain Marvel.
What did you think about Jude Law?
Oh, he's a good actor. I don't want to say getting used to him, but I mean, the 2 Sherlock Holmes movies I've seen he was in, that was good. He's in Spy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was good too. And then what did besides Captain Marvel, I think I just saw something else with him in it.
But but his character.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. His character was interesting. That he was like the secret villain, kind of, except Ronan was thrown in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, okay. I don't know though. His whole thing of like him wanting to fight Veers or Carol or Captain Marvel or Danvers, whatever name you want to use. He's like, he wants to fight her and is like, prove that you can beat me without using your abilities. I don't know. It was fine, I guess. It makes sense if they've been training together the last 6 years, I think is what it was. And then like the only time that she's beaten him is when she's photon blasted him across the room. I thought it was interesting that she didn't kill him when she like murdered everybody else, but didn't kill him and just sent him back to the Kree homeworld, which I don't remember what it's called. I can like see it, I just don't remember how to pronounce it.
Kreetopia.
No. But she sent him with a message that was like, hey, I'm coming and I'm just gonna like kill everybody anyways. So that was interesting. I liked his character. It made sense. It was a surprise, like I said, that he was revealed to be the bad guy.
I was surprised that he was in the movie.
But it was fine. I think I liked all the characters in the movie.
Because there's like two actors now that I wouldn't have thought would have fit in the MCU, but actually did a good job.
The other one being Benedict Cumberbatch, if I said his name right. Oh,
who? Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay, yeah.
So I mean, because Jude Law and Jake Gyllenhaal are often mentioned in the same breath of levels of where they're at as actors. So I was like, wow, okay. And okay,
closing thoughts on Captain Marvel.
It was good. It was like I said, I don't dislike any Marvel movie. I like some better than others. I like this one as much as I liked, say, Age of Ultron or something like that. I liked it. Just weird placement for it. It just was rushed to get out to introduce her character, just like they rushed Spider-Man out. But they rushed Spider-Man out in a good way.
Yeah, he was given very little to do in Civil War, and then given his own movie, a movie later or so. Where in this one, Captain Marvel got her own solo movie, and then in Endgame got very little to do. Which also I heard, I don't know if this is true, that they actually filmed, what's her name? Brie Larson? Mm-hmm. Okay, so they had Brie Larson film her Captain Marvel stuff in Endgame first, and then they shot her movie.
Yeah, that's the way I heard it.
And then they released the solo movie.
Yeah.
But
overall, it was good.
Yeah, overall it was good. Just the time of the release, I think, hurt it in the box office at least.
Mm-hmm. Well, it not only did it hurt it in the box office for me, it hurt it as like, she was boom, here's Captain Marvel, because we knew the movie was coming because they made a big deal that it was the first female lead movie, and so they kept building that up about it, which is fine, But all of a sudden, it's like, well, here it is. Oh, look, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, here's the other part of it.
Yeah, Avengers Endgame.
And she's in this one, too. So
don't worry, we're going to get to Endgame, and I can't wait to talk. I might have to watch it again just to talk about it.
I'm sure we will.
Oh, I'm so pain-stricken.
Because we're still behind. I mean, we're taking this out of release time, because we should have, I think, isn't Ant-Man and Wasp, we should have mentioned first.
Possibly. But
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll get there too. But I feel so much pain that I have to rewatch Avengers Endgame.
Okay, we're going to talk about AEW. And before we start mentioning this week's Dynamite and last week's
Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing, which I was supposed to go to, but I'll have to go next year. We're going to take a little bit of, just a few seconds to acknowledge a couple of passings in the wrestling world. Shad Gaspard, if you remember, Shad Gaspard and JTG in the WWE were Crime Time, which I thought was a stupid name.
I remember them.
That was a stupid name. I mean, you can be a heel, but you're going to stereotype two black guys by calling them criminals. That's no bueno. And but they took what they took it and they went with it and it got over. So good on them. Shad was the bigger of the two guys. He was the one, I think, at some point he was bodyguard for Tyson. I think that's what they mentioned before.
It was either him or JTG, but Shad was the bigger guy, so I would assume it was Shad.
And but he was in an unfortunate drowning accident while on vacation with his family, and so that's kind of messed up.
That is very sad. I remember, I'm pretty sure I remember when they debuted. Not the day or anything, but I remember watching it and them coming out and, their theme hitting and everything. So,
what about the whiter than white bread voice? Yo, yo, yo.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways,
check your rollies, pop your 40s.
But anyways,
it's crime time.
Yeah, so I remember that, and so I watched them as a kid.
Well, they were very much in the vein of Public Enemy, and it was Public Enemy who did a similar gimmick, and there was another team kind of like that too around that time.
Right, but it is a tragic loss, and especially the reports of his last words ish being "save my son," essentially, as the lifeguard, I believe they said was. Or rescue whoever was coming to get him.
Rescue personnel. It was like 3 or 4 rescue personnel that ran out there,
and he had him save his son at first,
and then he disappeared. He got pulled under by the riptide.
So the very, very tragic loss.
The other loss was from the Japanese wrestling world. Was Hana Kimura. She was only 21, I think.
22.
22,
which is not very much older than I am.
Sorry,
or
I got
younger.
some corona in my eye. Hold on.
Younger than I am. I forget how old I am. I'm going to be. I'm 23. So
anyway,
she's very, very close to my age.
She an interesting thing, because the way I heard it is, not only is she a wrestler in one of their many promotions over there, I don't remember which one, but she was a reality TV star on a Japanese Netflix, had a show called like a Big Brother type show where all the people are locked in a house.
Right.
And in January or February,
I think it was February.
She got in an incident where one of her roommates decided to take care of her wrestling gear for her and wash it, and she shrunk it.
And so that made...
And she flipped, Hana Kimura flipped out on her. Yeah. And so that made her disliked by the viewers.
And they turned
just
on her.
Started bombarding her with tweets every day about how horrible a person she is. And it sent her into a bad depression.
And that ended with the tragic loss of her life, taken by her own hand.
Yeah. So say February, so March, April, May. So 3 months of negative pounding tweets every single day, which to me, I would don't go on your Twitter if you know everybody's pissed off at you. But she posted some videos of her self-harming herself.
She put those on Twitter.
I heard a statement, or I don't know if it was her last statement, but she said she didn't feel like she wanted to be a human. Mm-hmm. She didn't. Every day getting all this negative energy, and hatred pointed at her. And, that's the thing with social media is it can really affect some people. You want to say, if you want to go on here and comment that I'm an idiot or whatever you want, I should go kill myself. I don't care. It doesn't affect my life, but for younger people where they are so connected to social media, you guys got to watch out what you're saying to people. There really shouldn't be any negative stuff anyway. Everybody should be, holding each other up and wishing nothing but I don't want you to fail as you grow into adult. I want you to succeed, and I would think your friends want you to succeed, and you want them to succeed.
Right.
You're not going to sit there and pick one of you guys out and start like berating them. So it's kind of crazy. I don't carry my phone with me everywhere I go. I hardly ever look at it. I hardly ever use it. I use it sometimes in the mornings for Facebook just to look and see what's going on. But I've missed calls because my phone's over in my room and I'm somewhere else, and I don't take it with me when I leave the house unless I know that I need to call here, that if I need to call home for anything. But I don't take it with. I'm not connected to my phone like younger people are. It baffles my mind how connected people are. I was at work one time when I worked at the university store, and there was now this is funny because it wasn't a young person. This was a teacher. She came out of one of the rooms. She had her phone up in front of her face, and she's walking towards my store, which sits at an end of a building. And I was like, oh my, she is going to walk right into she's going to walk right into the wall. Or in this case, it was a big plexiglass window. She's going to walk right into this window if she doesn't look up. The thing that saved her was the overhang of the building cast a shadow. So she went from bright sunlight to boom, dark shadow. That got her attention to where she was about 6 feet from walking into the window. So I just don't get it. I don't understand what is so important that you have to have your phone in front of your face every second of every day. It's mind-boggling to me. And so I'm not trying to, it's nothing against Hana Komura checking her tweets every day, but if it was me and it was all this negative stuff, I'd quit checking it. But that's me, and like I said, younger people are a little more sensitive about it for some reason, and it's just it's a sad loss because 22, although she was probably wrestling since she was 2.
Technically she started wrestling when she was 6, and then she made her debut at 20 or 21, and then she was actually slated to be like in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom in a tag match, and I do not remember all the people that are involved, simply because I don't have access to the Japanese wrestling. If I did, I would probably watch it. She's 22, or she was 22, and I'm 23. That's right there. So it's very, very sad. Both people. Obviously, I know who Shad Gaspar is a bit more than I know who Hana Kimura is, but you don't have to be. I don't have to know every single match that either one has wrestled to know that that's the loss of human life. One was a freak accident of a riptide, and the other was constant bullying that led to taking her own life. So I just know both of those are very, very sad and tragic. Which now we can move on to talk about wrestling. Okay, but
we're going to go into...
Try to be a little more lighthearted.
Well, how can you not with the Stadium Stampede? But AEW... Double or Nothing was held at a stadium in Jacksonville where the Jacksonville Jaguars play football. And anyway, so what a genius. First of all, that's another genius move. Although it would have been awesome with the stadium filled with fans. Since they can't do that right now, having it there was still a great idea. I don't remember I didn't look up to get all the results of every match on the card.
Oh yeah, we didn't actually.
We know that Mox.
See it.
We know that Mox retained his title against Brody Lee, and we know that Cody beat the Murder Hawk Monster
Lance Archer.
Lance Archer for the TNT title, and that the TNT title got a makeover. Thank God. But and then there's a couple of shenanigans with Tyson that were involved that continued into this week. But one thing I got a problem with is, okay, you're going to build up these. They do this all the time. They build up these guys to be unstoppable, but then there's when they get defeated, it's by someone that's not believable. Like we talked about that last week.
Yeah.
As far as you were talking about Strowman and Kalisto.
Mm-hmm.
And here again, Archer Archer ragdolled, but I mean, okay, he ragdolled Marco Stunt. They weren't giving him any competition. The surprisingly good fight that he had, well, the two surprisingly good fights that he had was with Colt Cabana. Boom, boom.
Colt Cabana.
Boom, boom.
Colt Cabana.
So that was a good match because Cabana actually posed a threat. And he was actually on commentary the week before talking about his matchup against him, saying that how he was going to use these tools and use what he knew, ring knowledge, against him. And he put up a pretty good fight. And then Dustin is it seems like every week he's going to retire. I hope the dude never retires. That dude is awesome. He's 51, I think. He's probably in the best shape he's ever been. At some points, Goldust got kind of fat. But, dude, he is in the best shape of his life, and his power slam is so fast. It's incredible. This guy is awesome. And his fight with Archer was really, really good. And I think he got Archer off his feet. I think he was the first one that got Archer off his feet. But then he lost, but then Cody can beat him. So are they subliminally trying to say that Cody's a better wrestler than Dustin? I don't believe that. And so I just have a problem with he can beat everybody in the roster, but Cody was able to beat him.
Right.
Yeah.
See, like I said, I don't see that kind of stuff just isn't believable. Again, Kalisto beating Strowman. That doesn't make any sense. And Cody is not the size of Kalisto. That's fair. But, I mean, Brian Cage debuted and won the ladder match. Why didn't Lance Archer murder Hawk Cody, and then you have Brian Cage against Lance Archer, and then and Brian Cage beat him. And if Brian Cage doesn't beat him, then I don't know who beats Lance Archer. But apparently if it's Cody, probably Marco Stunt will beat Lance Archer next week. I don't know.
No, because he threw Marco Stunt like halfway across the place where they're at, Daly's place.
Yeah.
But and then but we did see. Now we've complained about wanting to see the big boys get together. We did get to see some of that in the clips that we saw from the casino ladder match. Luchasaurus and
Brian Cage.
Brian Cage got some FaceTime together, so that was pretty awesome. And then also, it'll be in this week's Dynamite. There was some other big boys that got together, but we'll get to that in just a minute as we talk about the full Stadium Stampede, the Elite with Matt Hardy versus the Inner Circle on a football field.
Mm-hmm. I don't know where Jericho came up with the idea with the Inner Circle, but I'm glad that he did. They've struck in, and AEW has done this really well. They've stricken a balance between their comedy and their serious stuff, and certain gimmicks are done the right way. All the gimmicks are done a right way, and so you have the Inner Circle come out, and you've got people like Hager, Sammy Guevara, Santana and Ortiz.
Which, when they first came up with that faction, I thought, well, that's kind of random. I didn't really see it because I was familiar with Santana and Ortiz from Impact. They were just they were mean bastards over there, and they were oh gosh, I wouldn't mess it up. What were they? They replaced Hernandez and Homicide as the LAX, Latin American Exchange. So Santana and Ortiz took that mantle, and they were with Conan as their manager. They were just bad dudes and vicious all the time. So for them to come over here and do this little bit of comedy gimmick, I was pretty shocked by it. But they're doing good. They're engaging personalities. I like seeing them, even though they're heels. I like them. Jake Hager, who we knew was formerly Jack Swagger, he never got
where he should have been.
Yeah. And so now plus he's doing MMA too, showing that he is a legit badass, which before we had no idea, but he's a legit badass. And then Sammy, I have no idea where he came from. I'm guessing he was on the independent scene, but I don't know any promotions that he wrestled for. But the kid is good, and the kid has got comic timing, and he is able to take the punishments that he's been getting. I know instead of Sammy Guevara, they might want to call him Wiley Guevara, because he's like the coyote.
Yeah, dude. I don't know why they keep killing him every week, but But anyways,
hell. But he's also had some good showings in his singles matches.
Yeah.
And so the whole faction of
these basically
Jericho came up with throwing these guys together. It's gold, man.
Yeah, like the inner circle. Because if I remember correctly, what he was talking about was like he wanted mean, nasty dudes that can like fight and they can win and they can wrestle and beat everybody. So that's the faction he put together. But he's like, let's do this thing called the Bubbly Bunch and like have a ton of fun. And they're like, sure, okay, and it works. Like it just works. These are all hard-hitting dudes that, like, if I saw any of them in an alley, I would immediately crap my pants and beg for my life.
Well, the other thing too is about when the timing of the debut of them too. It was like the first TV episode, which was only 8-9 months after the company formed. Mm-hmm. So, we didn't even know who was on the roster yet, and then boom, he comes up with this super faction. Yeah. It's one of the best factions. They're up there with the NWO as far as all their shenanigans and stuff. So I'm really enjoying it. Yeah. Now, going the other way on the face side, you have the Elite, mm-hmm. which I guess is so well known that right away they put in this like rupture storyline with Adam Page, because the Elite, which actually Cody used to be in the Elite, was Kenny Omega and the Bucks, and they were actually the Elite came out of Bullet Club, and they were like they were the elite of the Bullet Club. They kind of got full of themselves, and they played with the heel face thing over there in New Japan. But now the Elite over here is Adam Page, who was also in Bullet Club, and Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. But they're like teasing this friction, this are they going to break up type of thing. And they had a couple of things that they did really cool to make you go, wow, is it going to happen? There was the tag match where there was the tag matches where Omega and Page had their miscommunications and hit each other, and then Jericho was quick as heel as he should be to point out, well, we don't fight with each other, we don't we don't hit each other's moves on each other, and blah blah blah, which is great for him to notice it as a kind of like as a fan. We notice it. Mm-hmm. He's noticed it too, so it's like it's not disconnected, that they know what's going on. But there was the one where Page looked like he could possibly set up for the buckshot lariat on Omega while Omega's back was turned, while he was kind of holding onto the ropes, kind of shaking him a little, where you knew that was the signal for the buckshot lariat. But then when Omega turned around, he just kind of let go and was like, hey, come on. And
Yeah.
that one, and then the other one was
All the times he's walked away.
when he walks away off their interviews. But then, and then he was gone. Supposedly he was gone. Nobody knew where he was. He did put out a interesting video of a little web series he started called Hangman Page. He lives in the woods and he drinks, which I watched the first episode, which was hilarious. So he was supposedly off on his own, hiding in the woods because he didn't want to catch the coronavirus. And then when you watch Stadium Stampede, there's action going on. All of a sudden, you see this little tiny dot, and it's getting closer, and it's Hangman Page running full speed.
Oh, that was before. That was before it, because he came in on a horse for the Stadium Stampede.
Yeah.
Because they had because Jericho had the idea to have the Stadium Stampede when they did their backstage brawl that they ended up at the football stadium, and then so Jericho was like, But anyways, yeah. So he does come running.
But he came in, and then he joined with his team. He helped win, and then they all stood together at the goalpost. Mm-hmm. But very soon after that, he walked away again, and they had the camera shot of the Elite standing there with Matt Hardy, and then Hangman Page is in the background walking away. So you go, okay. It's like, oh, no, he's not going to leave him. Oh, well, maybe he is. And they've been doing this for quite a while. So I like long game storylines. I like that it's taking so long to find out. I've got a couple of friends that are like, no, this needs to happen now, and this needs to happen now. And it's like, well, wait a minute. The company just started. It's just a little over a year old. So just, hold on a minute. Give people time to develop their characters. Give people time to develop their stories. Mm-hmm. One thing I heard from Wrestle Talk this morning was that JR talked about before the pandemic, they had house shows scheduled in, touring house shows, which is good for their younger talents to kind of work on their stuff, because of on this week's Dynamite, just transition to Dynamite, and last week's Dark, Private Party, who've been gone who've been on lockdown, showed up, and they're a little rusty, and they've only been out of the scene for about 2 months. They were rusty when they came back. They botched a whole bunch of stuff, and so they need these house shows to get the younger guys more ring experience. I mean, they're all TV ready. It almost seems like everyone has a great TV personality, even for people that you don't get to see a lot, like even the Butcher and the Blade. Those guys are TV ready. They've got personalities. But yeah, these younger guys, they've got to get more ring time in, so that when they do go to TV, they look more professional. They look better prepared, and so that's cool. Forgot before we jump on that Stadium Stampede, the crazy spots that we saw.
Yeah, I mean, again, they I don't know what their obsession with, like, hey, Sammy, can we hit you with this crazy stuff? You'll be fine. I'm sure you've got great medical bills or medical insurance. But we're going to run you over with a buggy. You're going to get chased down by a horse. You're going to get a one-winged angel from like
50 feet up or something.
Yeah, and you're going to just plunge
down.
Don't worry,
through. These are boxes.
You'll be fine. I don't know what the obsession with killing him is. I don't know if it's his idea, but I think it's great.
Not only is he Wile E. Coyote, he's Kenny.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my God, they killed Sammy, you bastards.
Pretty much. Like, that keeps happening. That's got to be on a shirt. But anyways.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be cool.
I would buy that shirt. But some of the crazy spots, like Adam Page on a horse, that's dope.
The multiple Matt Hardys.
Yeah,
keep showing up. I love that side of his gimmick.
Yeah, that's an interesting part, is that it's not just Damascus, which kind of seemed like that was going to be it because of his.
He kind of focused on, I expelled the essence of Matt Hardy, and now Damascus inhabits this vessel, and maybe it just didn't go as good as he wanted, or you learn to tweak it as they go along. Hey, I did this quick change. Hey, everybody liked that. I'm gonna go ahead and let's do that now. And so, but I like multiple Matts. I like he's gone back to version 1. He's gone back to Team Extreme. He's I haven't seen
$1 million Matt.
$1 million Matt yet. So there's that, and he's got that somewhere in his back pocket.
I'm sure he's just waiting.
Yeah. So I mean, and he doesn't have to. Like I said, he's got plenty of time. He doesn't have to do it every week. He can come out in 6 months from now as $1 million Matt, and people will be like, "Who are you?" And he can explain it. So it's cool. Waiting for Hardy compound matches. Waiting to see the rest of the House of Hardy, his wife and his kids. Senior Benjamin. Looks like there is a new. What's the drone? Vanguard. Looks like there's a Vanguard 2 now. There was a black drone that showed up at Stadium Stampede.
So I started laughing because we talked about who was going to defeat Lance Archer, and I said Marco Stunt, but I just forgot that
Senior Benjamin?
No, his son. His son has a 1-0 record. 2-0 record. So
yeah, King Maxwell has a 2-0 record over Drake Maverick.
So maybe King Maxwell will defeat Lance Archer next, because I mean, at this point, he was the murder hawk. His promo was great, where like he went to the backyard wrestling type thing, and he just beat everybody there, and then Cody Rhodes beat him.
Plus he's got Jake the Snake with him.
Yeah,
what a great pairing.
And then like and what was it? And Cody just hit 2 crossroads, and that's
2
what
in a row.
That's what beat him. But
that wasn't the whole match.
That wasn't the whole match, but that was at the end.
Yeah,
and what's put him away. But I mean,
there was a lot of stuff that went on before that we didn't see.
But John Moxley versus Brody Lee, or Mr. Brody Lee, he hit him with like 6 paradigm shifts, maybe more. Busted him open, put him through the ramp, and he still couldn't beat him. He put in a chokehold, and that Brody Lee passed out from, which was the only way that he won. But Cody hit 2 back-to-back crossroads and beat Lance Archer. No. So anyways, maybe King Maxwell will be the one to defeat Lance Archer next.
Also, we started talking about the pairing of Jake the Snake and Lance Archer, which we discussed last week, is also now. Let's talk about the pairing of Brian Cage and Taz.
Yeah, because it could have been Darby Allin, and so I feel that that's going to be a thing later. Is Taz is going to like go up to Darby Allin or something and be like, "This is where you could have been."
Or is he start a faction?
Or does he start a faction? One of the two, or both.
But his promo, Taz's promo that he cut on Mox, the end of it, he said, "Beat him." Wait, what did he say? Beat him if you can, survive if he lets you.
Yeah,
that was awesome, and it didn't faze Mox. He had no reaction to it. But putting Taz with Brian Cage, I remember Brian Cage in Impact. I don't remember how he is on the mic. So putting him together with Taz is all right with me. Getting Taz back on as an on-screen character as opposed to just being commentary. So I'm okay with that too. They got such a wealth of freaking talent over there
and knowledge.
And those guys, those talents have such knowledge that they can be. Hey, we can be in front of the camera, we can be behind the camera, we can be out on stage, we could be backstage, all like at the same time. Basically, they're backstage, they're helping the younger guys out. Here's what you need to know. Let me demonstrate by being an on-screen character. Let me show you what's going on. And Taz on commentary is awesome. Taz's takedowns was a great feature. I don't know how long he's going to. I don't know if he's not going to be on commentary for Dark, but I mean his knowledge, it's awesome, and I love the fact that they mixing up the older guys and the younger guys. I don't have a problem with it. If they gave him a major storyline push and he took away a wrestling slot, I'd have a problem with it. But he's not. He's just a guy on the mic.
Yeah, just and behind the scenes, he's supposedly coaching Brian Cage, or he actually is. I don't know, one of the two.
Yeah, he is, and then there's he's helping all the other younger guys.
Yeah.
One thing also in this week's Dynamite was their Battle Royal.
Yeah.
And they stuck Billy Gunn in there, who's 54. Dude is huge, man. I did not realize how huge he was. Even when he was in DX, I think Triple H is taller than him. I remember Triple H being taller than. I don't remember the dude being. He freaking towered over all the other guys in that Battle Royal. He was huge.
Just barely taller than Luchasaurus.
Oh, and then see, we had those two guys go together. That was awesome. And then you had the match that you didn't know you wanted.
That's right. Well, I'll get to that in a second. I just thought I was just remembering. I forget who he eliminated. Luchasaurus eliminated somebody, and Marco Stunt turned on him, was grabbing his leg, trying to hoist him over, and it wasn't working. And I don't know what I was expecting, but Luchasaurus just kind of ignored it, didn't just pick him up by the scruff and toss him out.
Yeah, he just kind of looked down and was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, and then just walked away. I thought that was really good. It did not come down to the people I thought it was going to come down to. I was expecting Wardlow to turn on MJF because that's what they're setting up, but maybe they're going to wait for that one too. Mm-hmm. But it came down to Orange Cassidy and Jungle Boy.
Yeah. Also, wait a minute. The other thing about big guys going at it, we had Wardlow and Luchasaurus squaring off. That I want. Yes, please.
Yeah, more of that.
I want to see that. I want to see that for sure.
Luchasaurus is definitely probably one of my favorite wrestlers there.
MJF.
He's cool. He's a cool heel. Oh, you know what? I don't want to bring it back to that. But I was gonna say he's 22 as well.
Yeah, he's the best heel in the business in any promotion right now.
Yeah.
Also, the Final Four. It was MJF, Wardlow,
Jungle Boy, and Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
And I was highly expecting it just to come down to Wardlow and MJF, and I was expecting that tension to be there, in which, MJF was going to command him out of the ring, and Wardlow would either turn on him there or reluctantly do it.
Yeah.
I was expecting that, but instead Orange Cassidy and Jungle Boy eliminated them both, and it came down to those two. I did not know I wanted to see that match until I saw that match.
That was awesome.
That was great. And it didn't go very long, and which is good and bad. It's good because I want more. I want to see it again. Next week I want to see them have their 20-minute time limit match where they actually wrestle each other. So that's good. It's bad because I didn't get to see their 20-minute match where they wrestle each other.
Yeah. I think it went an appropriate length of time.
Yeah.
But because you're who's going to eliminate who? And when it came down to a Hurricane Rana over the ropes and Jungle Boy held on and Cassidy hit the ground, you're that was either one of them
could have won.
Well, either one of them that could have won would have been okay with me.
Right.
If it would have been Cassidy, that would have been awesome. If it would have been, and it was Jungle Boy, that's awesome too. Mm-hmm. And so, and that's another couple of young guys. Cassidy's not that old, but he's a pretty lengthy time ring veteran. So,
yeah. And what I was talking about way early on is AEW striking that balance. They did with Orange Cassidy as well. His whole slacker gimmick,
but then when he wants to
he's great. So it can be overdone. It could have been underdone. It could have just bombed flat.
But they struck a really good balance.
They did it great. And also, I don't remember who said it. It may have been JR or something, that if Jungle Boy hadn't held on to the ropes, his feet would have hit the floor first, allowing Orange Cassidy to win. So it literally came down to grip strength and timing, pretty much. Maybe timing more than anything, because if he would have lost his grip and Cassidy hit the ground first, Jungle Boy would have still won. So that was really, really cool.
How about FTR's debut?
Oh yeah. That was at the top of the show. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was Havoc and what the hell is his name? Havoc and Kip Sabian.
Kip Sabian. There we go. I was like, I know it's one of the bad guys,
and
bad boys,
and Penelope Ford. Mm-hmm. Now I didn't know this. Now because I saw it on. I was reading online. They're referred to as the Super Bad Death Squad.
Okay. But against the Elite with Hardy, or the Young Bucks with Hardy.
Yeah, and then what? We'll skip over all that because that was phenomenal. But what happened was that Jimmy Havoc had gotten thrown into the over the barrier into the crowd, which was just the other wrestlers, and Matt Jackson, as he got up to come back in, Matt Jackson went to give him a super kick, and he ducked, and the super kick hit Blade. Mm-hmm. And dude, it was an audible too. You heard it pop right under his chin and knock him down. So then Butcher and Blade rushed the ring
after the
match, and all
beat
hell
down
breaks loose.
The Young Bucks, while Matt Hardy was helping the injured party to the back, which was been revealed that was just a work. It was a clever way to get Hardy out of the ring for FTR to debut, which is also really cool. It's because you see a part, it's like, yeah, Matt Hardy's this veteran. He's doing this weird gimmick where it's this Damascus is taking his vessel, but he can be any version of Matt that he wants. And it's like, oh, that's all this cool stuff. Or, all this like comedy kind of sci-fi wrestling. And then Matt Hardy believes that this person is injured, so he helps him to the back to make him okay. To make sure he is okay.
Well, it's like he broke character.
Yeah, almost.
It's like, well, no, he broke character because he was helping out an injured wrestler.
Yeah.
Which we didn't know wasn't a legit injury.
Right.
And then all of a sudden this truck comes up.
Which was way better than Cody. So it was.
And it was like these two guys jumped out and was like, who are they? I didn't even know at first until I seen the back of their heads. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh crap, it's FTR, which now is their legit name where it can mean anything they want it to mean.
And I loved it that they came down to the ring, and because if you don't know, the Young Bucks and FTR have been having like a Twitter war feud thing. So as the Butcher and Blade were beating down the Young Bucks, FTR came down to the ring. Butcher and Blade stepped aside. They picked them, like they put their heads in their hands, and they were gonna fight him, and they turned around and took out Butcher and Blade. And then as the Young Bucks came to thank them or shake their hand or whatever, they just turned around and walked away.
Yeah.
Oh, how cool is that?
So that's a feud coming. We know it, but it's going to involve Butcher and Blade, which is cool because you get multiple storylines. Because that brings me to Butcher and Blade's story. All these guys have been stuck in quarantine, so the story's kind of stopped. The whole purpose of the debut of Butcher and Blade was they want to take out Cody. Again, it's like the Nightmare Family, Cody, Dustin, QT Marshall, Coach Arn, Brandy. It's like they're all together as one unit. And Butcher and Blade said that was their mission. Bunny is their spokesperson. That's Allie. She, that's what they said. They were there to take him out. So that story got kind of buried because I don't know if they didn't get over as good as they wanted or whatever. They just kind of got shuffled out. Well, now they've got this thing where it started on Dark. Because Dustin and I forgot to mention Dustin and QT Marshall are a tag team called Natural Nightmares, and during one of their matches, Allie, Bunny, whichever she is, came out and she was just standing there watching, and she got QT Marshall's attention. He kept looking to see what is she doing, and then the next on Dynamite, she's there with QT Marshall, like talking to him. So I guess they're flirting and they're just having a conversation, and he's supposed to be rooting for Cody, and Brandy's there and Dustin's there, and they keep looking at QT and kind of getting annoyed with him. And it's like, hey, you should be cheering for him because, you're on the team. And he looks over and he's like, yeah, but look at Allie. And so to me, it's foreshadowing. She's worming her way in somehow, and that's going to affect the plans of the Butcher and Blade to get at Cody.
Yeah, to break him apart.
Yeah, so I like that. And it's a long game. Again, it's a long game storyline because we've only seen her with him twice now. Well, once they weren't even near each other, and then now it's like, oh, she's already talking to him. She's going to get her way. She might join. They might write it as she even joins the Nightmare family, which was something that we saw in another family when Orton joined. But,
I was going to say Daniel Bryan, but yeah, that too.
Yeah. Well, no, he joined with the purpose of taking him apart.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan didn't. So, so we talked about that. Let's talk about Hikaru Shida's latest match against Christy James.
Yeah, I was surprised that wasn't a squash match. Pleasantly surprised, I should say, because the match right before was, or 2 matches before that, it was an immediate squash match. Because it was like Brian Cage came out and they like fed him a snack, and he just like, okay, well, I'm done here. And he's not even champion. And then Shida came out as champion and didn't, it wasn't a squash match, which was good. It was a good
Christy
match.
James hadn't been on Dynamite since February, where she lost to Big Swole, I think. But Christy James is good. The thing is, they've got like these little tiny women wrestlers, mostly the Japanese, which I think actually I had this idea. In WCW, they did a thing where they made a deal with one of the Mexican promotions, and they brought a whole buttload of their luchador guys, and basically they were like their own division. They came out and had their own match, 1 or 2 matches a week, and and it was a thing. So I'm thinking, why doesn't they strike a deal? Why don't AEW strike a deal and get all these Japanese girl wrestlers that are like little teeny tiny, and just every week
because they're not all Riho size. That's why.
But a lot of them are.
Yeah. But
so anyway, going back. Christy James is a good sized person. I think her gimmick is she's Puerto Rican, and she was like doing some salsa dancing or something that was part of her thing, and it kept her on the TV camera, so I guess that's all right with her. And but yeah, a surprisingly good match. I wanted to see some shenanigans. I wanted to see Nyla Rose come out, or if somebody that they want to position as her next.
Chris Statlander.
Yeah, her next challenger, because it can't be Britt Baker because she's out with the knee injury.
Broken tibia, but
yeah, so she's gone until September probably. So if they're going to position somebody to be the next challenger to Shida, I would have seen some interference there. So at least we know who it's going to be.
Well, when we pay attention to the rankings, Chris Statlander was ranked number 2 and Shida was number 1. Now Shida's champion. So
that means Statlander's one, unless she had a loss.
Well, I don't think
this
so.
week, and she didn't.
No, she beat the.
Her match was on Dark, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Statlander is, but was she even there?
No, they mentioned her. They talked about. Well, Britt Baker talked about her, but. Yeah, no. But Shida had a great match. I don't think she has had a bad match. I wonder why, unless I'm thinking of a completely different wrestler, but I'm pretty sure it is Shida, is part of her thing is if she was fighting on the outside, she would get a chair, set it up, and then like jump off the chair.
With her running knee strike.
Yeah, and we haven't seen that. So I'm wondering if she doesn't want to do that anymore. She's trying to reserve
did it
it
recently.
Yeah, I don't know. I just haven't seen it. And I've been watching as much as I can.
Yeah, but I watch more Dark than you do.
That's true. But you know,
But also,
otherwise, it's fine.
here. Let me pose this question to you. We know Britt Baker is awesome heel for the women's division, and is she overshadowing Sheeta? Because Sheeta doesn't speak a lot. We don't know if she speaks English or not. Sheeta was, her in-ring work is superb. She was #1 ranked for 12 weeks before she got the title. But now she's the champion. Is she engage? Is her personality engage you, or is she being overshadowed by Britt Baker being the awesome, larger-than-life heel that she is?
Well, I mean, there is weight to action speak louder than words.
Right.
And so Sheeta doesn't really need to speak, as she completely dominates the women's division right now. So, although, I mean, to have I guess a silent champion, because I was thinking of somebody like Brock Lesnar, where he doesn't speak, but he has someone on the mic for him. He has Heyman.
So does she need somebody?
No, I don't think so. I think she can be a silent champion. That's fine. She doesn't need to cut promos. She dominates in the ring. Nyla Rose with a kendo stick.
They're not doing that in the women's division. There are no advocates, managers, advisors, speakers, whatever. Mm-hmm. They all cut their own promos, and nobody has a manager yet. Well, they tried it. Briefly, they tried it with Brandy, coming up with her Nightmare Collective, but that fell apart.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise they don't have that going on. Do they need that?
For some of the wrestlers, no. I think like for Statlander doesn't need anybody. Sheeta definitely doesn't need anybody. Nyla, Riho, they don't really need people. Britt Baker, definitely. She's fine. She's doing great. She does not need a person. But I think for some people like...
Oh, and I found out who that was.
Who?
Her handler.
Reba?
Yeah, they called her Reba. She was Rebel over in Impact.
Oh, that's why
she was part of... she was part of the menagerie with Crazy Steve.
Right.
The Freak. And then their Braun Strowman. Knox. And,
so that...
so that's who that was with the wheelchair.
If... I just forgot her name. If Britt Baker wants people like Reba that like push her wheelchair and do things for her, that's fine. But she doesn't need somebody to speak for her. I think some of the younger women that we don't really know, like Big Swole, and I just forgot everybody else's name.
Well, Big Swole's okay on the mic. I've heard her speak, but she's also a smaller in stature person.
Yeah.
She might need a bigger personality person to hype her out.
Exactly.
She needs Leo Rush.
Yeah, she needs her own hype person. Penelope Ford could probably do with somebody, because she with Joey Janela or Kip Sabian?
She's with Kip Sabian.
Okay, because he's not doing anything for her. So
he could be her mouthpiece in the women's division, just to be an annoying character.
Yeah. I think they should get some women veterans and kind of do that, but not to everybody, because clearly Britt Baker doesn't need people.
But they also do need women veterans over there to help backstage.
Oh yeah,
because I forgot who I've heard is handling the women's division backstage.
I thought it was Brandy.
No, she's the figurehead. No, the one that's actually legit training them. It's a couple of guy wrestlers, but they need somebody like, not like Lita or anything. She's over there, but
I thought of Beth Phoenix,
and she's loyal to the E brand. Because she's married to Edge. So, but they do need some veteran women wrestlers over there to not only to help flesh out the division, but to help them backstage. Before we go, there was two things that I forgot about, and one from this week and one from last week. So from last week, We were talking about the Netflix Marvel universe, which no longer exists, which is a bunch of bullshit. But we talked about Daredevil. We talked about Luke Cage. We talked about what was the other? Punisher
Jessica
and Daredevil. We didn't talk about Jessica Jones.
Did we not? I thought we did.
No, we forgot about Jessica Jones, which was an awesome 2 seasons. So that was cool. And that was Daredevil, Punisher, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist in that order for me.
I thought we did do that. But anyways, Daredevil, Punisher, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and Luke Cage. I made no bones that I didn't really care about. Luke Cage wasn't that good to me.
Yeah, but you watched 2 episodes.
Yeah, and I didn't get into it.
There was 20.
That's like
there's 18 other episodes that you didn't watch.
That's like people
awesome.
telling me, "Oh, you should watch Doctor Who, but skip to season 5." Well, I'm like, well, if I'm going to skip 4 seasons of the modern stuff, I know that there was Doctor Who in the 60s, but if I got to skip 4 seasons, your show's not that good. So,
well, no, because that's a not a good example, because they changed the star every 2 years.
Yeah, I know. So everybody wanted. I'm going to say his name wrong. David
Tennant.
Okay, I did say it right. Because everybody's like, "Oh yeah, just skip till you get to David Tennant, the 10th Doctor, and then just watch from there." I was like, "So you want me to skip 4 years of a TV show of the modern stuff? It's not a good show then." So I watched 2 episodes of Luke Cage, and I just didn't get into it. Now, it may be a good show, which, again, I've said I don't think Marvel makes anything bad, but I just didn't enjoy it. So, so that was the one thing. What was the other thing?
I forgot, on this week's Dynamite, the Paige and Omega segment, where they went back to the hotel and they were drinking together.
Oh, and they were talking, and we missed it.
Because they put it on during the commercial break. And so it was on picture-in-picture. There was no audio. So it was Omega, who doesn't drink alcohol. He was drinking milk. And Paige drinking his beer or whiskey or whatever it was. And they were watching something on TV. We don't know if they were watching Dynamite. We don't know if they were watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. We had no idea. And then Paige discovered the camera pointed at them from, watching them to see what they're doing, and he came up, and then they, I don't know what the segment was supposed to be. They didn't mention that on Russell Talk either, but there's a missed opportunity for something.
Yeah,
we had no idea what that was, so they kind of screwed that up.
Same thing when Nyla Rose won the women's title. She was backstage saying something, but the picture-in-picture came on for the commercial, so we can see her
cutting a promo.
But we missed every single word that she said.
Yeah.
That was kind of
screwed.
Yeah, I hope they had fixed that or something, but I think that's everything. And
we have no shout-outs because nobody's commenting. So if you comment, we have 20 subscribers now, right?
Yeah.
At our last count, we've got 20 subscribers. Hey, all you 20 people, say something. Say whatever you want. Negative, positive, indifferent. Who cares? Just don't be a douche. And we will give you a shout out on our next episode if we see your
comment,
your name,
or your name, yeah,
or your handle or whatever it is. So help us out a little bit. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, notification bell,
all that good stuff,
all that kind of good thing. And we will. What do we got next week? We've got Dynamite. When we've got you know what I want to start talking about? You're gonna have to get caught up. Well, 2 things you're gonna have to get caught up on. You need to get caught up on The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So we can bring that back in, and then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes.
They're on their last season. I don't even know if it's a full season of 20 episodes or not. It might be just 15. I'm not sure. I'll look it up. But yeah, I want to talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because they've got some interesting things going on there. And Hi, Bella's. Uh-oh. I think Bella needs to make a cameo on her way out.
And I think the last few Marvel movies that we need to talk about is Doctor Strange, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Okay.
Um,
Look, you're on the internet.
the Black Panther, and then the 2 Avengers movies.
And then we'll be caught up.
Infinity
We'll be
War and
caught up.
Endgame. And
We'll be caught up. Bella.
yeah. So, anyways, we're gonna go ahead and head out, but we look forward to howling with you again next time.
Daddy-o, out.